On stage, it seems we've got a few casualties of lunch who will probably straggle in and continue to join us over the course of the next few minutes. But let's get on with the program again. I think we've pulled our schedule back so that we're only about 15 minutes over schedule, which is still very manageable for us. Our next speaker will address value management in a growing organization, talk about what are the trends he sees across the world, and how those trends affect Pakistan. He'll ask you questions and hopefully find answers to how your company is capitalizing in the downturn, and how did Engro go about raising the $1 billion. May I please request all of you to put your hands together for the Vice President and CFO of Engro Corporation Limited, Mr. Ruhail Mohammed.
I can see that the session immediately after lunch is probably not the most envious slot, but I'll try my best. Okay, the topic I've been given is value management in a growing organization. Some of you must have known we've gone through a major expansion in all areas of our businesses, and I'll try to see how the CFO role fits into that. Okay, the topics I plan to cover here are how CFOs can add value to an organization, what have been the global trends in the last 2 or 3 years, and what was our strategy to add value based on that, and the steps we took to capitalize from the downturn, especially in Pakistan. And this was a special topic given to me, how we went about raising the $1 billion for our fertilizer expansion. Okay, as we define it, as traditional management textbook goes, the ultimate objective of any management is to maximize shareholder wealth. We've heard comments from speakers, especially Dr. Ishrat, about the triple bottom line, and I personally don't see any conflict between the triple bottom line and shareholder wealth. In fact, just to add, as Engro, we've probably been among the most top proponents of the triple bottom line. For example, we spend about 1% of our pre-tax profit on CSR activities, which is almost like 50 million last year. Recently, we've just been given an award by the Asian CSR rating agency as the only Pakistani company to get that award, in fact, in the top 50 of Asia. And going from the employee side, we are probably one of the best paymasters in the industry. At the same time, as everybody would know, with our ethics standard, we don't have any shortcuts on taxes, etc. So we are looking at all stakeholders, but I think it all supplements and adds to this issue of maximizing shareholder wealth, because through these mechanisms, in the long run, you can achieve shareholder wealth. Okay, so moving on to the next one, what is the CFO's role? I've tried to do away with the theory part. I'm sure you can read a lot about it. I'm just concentrating on what we do in our organization as such. So the CFO in all our companies, especially in the holding company, we are part of the top management teams which shape strategy. And the way we do it in Engro is that we start with individual strategy sessions sometime in the August-September timeframe for each product line and each businesses, what they want to do in the next 5 years, what CapExes are arising out of that, and so on and so forth. And then the final management session is held in November, followed by a long board session in December, which sort of endorses the management strategy, debates on whether it be, and there are various aspects to it in terms of government policy, CapExes, etc. So the CFO plays an integral part, especially in our organization, where we have a lot of engineering people on the top management, being a large-scale manufacturing industry. So the CFO can add value in terms of trying to give some economic analysis of any proposal that comes, especially on the engineering side as well. Then, in terms of key performance parameters, I mean, and I'm not talking about just simple top lines and bottom lines and volumes. We have KPIs set for each businesses. For example, we have an IT business in the US, and for example, the outsourcing hours is a KPI there. In our foods business, top of the mind recall is a KPI. Similarly, for our fertilizer, we have a gas efficiency index, which is a KPI over and above the normal KPI. So that's What we get these reports on a monthly basis, and the CFOs would challenge them as to why or why not are they achieving these objectives. Then going a step forward, I think the role of the CFO is also to challenge each business unit leader in terms of what they can do better, whether it be efficiency, whether it be distribution, costs, top line growth, or whatever. So there's a constant challenge by the CFO team, or aided by the finance team, to challenge us how they can do better and better every time. In terms of return on capital, obviously, in addition, we have a system of re-evaluating projects, which we've already done in the past. And on top of that, for new projects, obviously, there is a big involvement of the CFO, cost of capital, risk-adjusted returns, etc., etc. Then on the risk management side, it's both financial and operational. Financial, the simple things like what is your FX policy on taking rupee-dollar open exposures, insurances as an example, but things like operational aspects as well. For example, we trade a lot of phosphates, DAP, which is just a trading business for us, and we set guidelines as to how much risk we can take in an open position of inventory as a percentage of our equity, etc. So these are the roles which are in our organization, which the CFO traditionally plays. This is obviously over and above the roles of tax and accounting, etc. Okay, moving on. The global trends and their effects on Pakistan. I'm just giving this as a scene setter for what we did subsequently. So you know all of this. The Great Recession of 2008, GDPs fell. Same thing happened in Pakistan. And obviously the repercussions for Pakistan was that there was a slowdown in exports, especially textile, etc., because they were going mainly to the developed world. The deleveraging and risk averseness has led to an increase in credit risk premiums. Now, what is that? What is the implication here? The implication is that for companies like us who are raising big amounts for their investment plans, the commercial loans which were available back in 2007 are no longer available. I mean, and if they are, there's such exorbitant premiums that it won't be economical to take them. Then many export credit agencies are now closed for business for Pakistan, either due to Pakistan political risk or because they themselves have too many order books as such. The cost of borrowing for the GOP itself has gone up. I'm sure a lot of you tracked the GOP bond, which was started from like 6% and went as high as the yield of 25, and now is probably trading around 10% or so. And then, of course, the declining foreign direct investment, which is a result of what's happening in the West. The falling asset prices, especially in developing world, obviously the FDI got suffered, and obviously the portfolio investors also took their money back, and which is not helped by a lot of the regulatory actions taken here in Pakistan. Financial sector, however, was, as Dr. Ishrat was talking in the morning, was fairly insulated. However, they had their share of bad loans because of the economy coming down and the power shortage, etc. In terms of commodity prices, of course, has probably the biggest impact in Pakistan, oil prices being the biggest one, and then followed by mostly all commodities, whether it be agricultural, steel, etc., which led to inflation, fiscal and current account deficits, and that has increased the cost of doing business in Pakistan through higher interest rates and, of course, devaluation. The war on terror, while it has its own effect politically and in the security situation, in a way, indirectly has helped from a different perspective, is that the bilateral and the multilateral aids have increased, which are going both for the GOP support as well as directly into the private sector. Okay. So what has been our strategy? I think our strategy, even before the recession hit a couple of years ago, was that we wanted to be in businesses which were in Pakistan were globally competitive or is shielded from international competition. Something like agriculture would fall in the first category, where we think we are quite competitive versus the rest of the world. Or from international competition, if you're going into power, obviously it's difficult to import power, so you're shielded from international competition. And we tied that up into opportunities in which we